Kia ora kia koutou, I rongo atu.
Inga mana, inga reo, inga iwi, roranga tira mā, tēnā koutou katoa. Te tinu mihi, ki te mana whenua o tēnei rohe. Mihi mai, mihi mai, mihi mai. Te whare e te tunei, tēnā koe. Te wāhi waka here here, tēnei mō Aotearoa. Ka huri ngā whakaaro, tingi mātei, moi mai. Te hunga ora, tēnā katoa. Kia ora ki Kuheitia, it's good to see you again. Can I also say thank you, Mary, for those very wise words that you just said as well. Can I say thank you to Ngāpui and Te Tokorau Iwi and the Waitangi National Trust for once again hosting these ceremonies commemorating the signing of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Waitangi Day is, of course, an opportunity to pause and to reflect on the foundations of our nation, our history, and to look forward too. So I want to say thank you, Ben, for prompting us in this forum to answer two questions. The first is, where do we want to be as a nation by 2040? And the second is, what do we need to focus on in the next 3 years to get there? I think both are good and timely conversations and questions given what we've talked about today. But as we all know, no journey begins fresh out of nowhere. All of us are shaped by our parents, our families, our hapu, our faith, our community, our iwi, and our environment. But the past of every one of us are more than just a lineage of ancestors recorded on a family tree or tupuna on the wharenui walls. Our pasts are also the stories of what happened to our parents, our grandparents and our great-grandparents, because those events have contributed some way to who we are here today. The nation, of course, has a past all of its own, and it is partly the sum of the past of its citizens, but it is also a history of events. The great and the small, the planned and the unexpected, the triumphs and the setbacks, the good and the bad. 184 years ago, today, and 7 decades after Cook sailed south from Tahiti, Crown representatives and Māori came together to sign Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the Treaty of Waitangi, a foundational event in New Zealand's history. And on the 6th of February 1840, Hobson and the chiefs assembled here at Waitangi. And they were people just like us, who were trying to navigate their way towards a united, stable, peaceful and prosperous future. And we know that they likely had different understandings of what they were doing. And we know that in the years that followed, the promise and the obligations of the treaty were not upheld by the Crown. And part of the history of modern New Zealand has been our struggle to understand the intentions and the expectations of those who signed the treaty and how we should act as a result. And that work is still happening, and that work will keep going. Now, every nation's past is imperfect, but no other country, I've put it to you, has attempted to right its historical wrongs or dared to undertake such an ambitious journey of reconciliation as we have. While the journey continues, I think all New Zealanders can take some pride, because it has required a generosity of spirit from both iwi and Crown to restore mana. And for all the pain that that process has entailed, we are a better, more open-minded, and I think more tolerant country because of it. The treaty is our past, it's our present, and it's our future. It has shaped the country we have become, and the obligations it imposes on both sides will always be with us. However, we must aspire to go forward not as two sides, but together as New Zealanders, because there is more that unites us than divides us. However, unity doesn't mean all of us being or thinking exactly the same. We can value our differences. We can debate them constructively while respecting each other and still find a pathway towards a better future together. New Zealand has demonstrated the courage to identify, to name and to wrestle with its differences and challenges throughout its history, and we will and we must keep doing that. The arc of New Zealand's history and progress is not linear, but our experience of the last 184 years should give us tremendous confidence that we can shape our future and thrive in the 21st century. That, if you like, is my preamble to my vision for 2040. Because I do believe that New Zealand is the best country on earth, like many of you. We have unlimited potential and we have everything we need to be incredibly successful. The best people, a country well positioned in the Asia-Pacific region, a liberal democracy with well-established social institutions, We are a multicultural nation, but proudly built on a strong bicultural foundation, and with an acute sense of fairness and a willingness to lend a hand to those who need it. There are simply no excuses for why we can't do exceptionally well and be one of the world's leading advanced small countries. And so my vision by 2040 is that we will have built a bigger, a more productive, a smarter, modern 21st century economy that will generate the wealth required to pay for all the things that we need and want to improve the lives of our people. Just imagine in New Zealand where a world-class education system is setting all of our kids, Māori and non-Māori, up to take on those higher-paying jobs and to do well for themselves. Imagine a country that embraces technology and innovation to reduce our isolation so we can sell more valuable exports and earn bigger incomes. Imagine a country with a modern and reliable infrastructure to make our lives easier and to create more prosperity for our communities. A New Zealand that encourages businesses with less red tape so that iwi and others with good ideas don't have to struggle to realise them and can grow and offer more opportunities and higher wages. And imagine an outward-looking country, hustling and connected to the world, so it's easier for us to make the most of the global opportunities that exist. My vision is by 2040, we'll be the best place in society in the world to be a child, the best place to raise a family and to make a contribution to your community. Imagine a New Zealand where every 5-year-old walking for the first time through the gates of a kura or school does so with a similar chance of success when they leave school. And whoever they are and wherever they come from, imagine every single child being safe and well supported at home so they genuinely have an opportunity to do well at school. Imagine a New Zealand that provides better access to quality healthcare and actually delivers on improving health outcomes for everyone, where parents of Māori children don't have to wonder if their tamariki will live 6 to 7 years less than other children. A country where every Kiwi has a safe, warm, dry home. A country that always helps Kiwis in genuine need with a social safety net, but also has less people dependent on welfare and needing support from their fellow citizens because work pays. Imagine a New Zealand with less crime and victims of crime, where people do feel safe in their homes and their businesses and their communities. Because at the heart of our society sits the notion that we both have rights, but we also have responsibilities to each other and to our great country. And people are leading more productive and useful lives. A New Zealand where Tawa Māori is flourishing, where the enduring relationship between Crown and iwi improves services and outcomes for tangata whenua, where treaty settlements have all been completed. And some of New Zealand's most successful enterprises, nationally and internationally, are iwi businesses who are using their profits to reinvest with their people, their rohe and their businesses. A place where a multicultural society is a source of tremendous pride for us. And also by 2040, our vision should be that we'll be well on track to deliver on our net carbon goals for 2050. A New Zealand with abundant renewable energy that is using science and technology to solve our environmental challenges and to preserve our biodiversity. Well, I have to say to you, I don't just imagine those things. I am leading a government that is determined to achieve that 2040 vision. And I want to see us as a country get our mojo back, as I've said, a much more confident, positive and ambitious New Zealand. And we're only going to do it with everyone stepping up and pitching in together. We have 16 years to achieve that vision, and you ask what we need to do in the next 3 years to make progress towards it. Well, the answer is quite simply lots, and I look forward to engaging more with you on that agenda. But as the Chinese text says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And so over the coming 3 years, this government is going to be relentlessly focused on improving the economy because it underscores the standard of living that every single one of us, every family and hapu, every community and iwi in this country has. And the struggle with the cost of living is one of the financial legacies of the previous government that spent too much, it borrowed too much, and it left nothing to show for it except rising debt, high inflation, high interest rates, and a shrinking economy and a lot of jobs in Wellington. So we have to do that as a first step to get the government's books back in order so that we can make those savings to improve our services, we can make those savings to pay off that debt that Labour has left us, and some of it will be returned to our people through tax relief. And you earned that money, and right now you could do with a lot more of it as you navigate the cost of living and make things easier at home. We will focus on restoring law and order because Kiwis do deserve to feel safe in their homes, their businesses and their communities. And under the previous government, violent crime, retail crime and youth offending spiralled out of control, causing enormous pain and suffering to many Kiwis. I just say to you, that's not fair and that's not right. And the government's third priority this term will be for delivering better public services with a particular focus on health and education. Things like shorter wait times to see a specialist or to be treated in an emergency department, and better school attendance and achievement. And we'll be setting targets for those goals and working with you to make sure we're accountable for achieving them. And I've spoken a lot about education since I became leader of the National Party 2 years ago, and I'm going to continue to do so, because I have to say it's the thing that worries me the most since coming to politics. How on earth can a first world country have 55% of our kids not attending school regularly and children not knowing the basics well? I'm telling you, that is a future moral and economic disaster. So our government will do its part by backing kaupapa Māori education system, reintroducing partnership schools, investing in structured literacy, teaching the basics well, and setting clear targets focused on attendance and achievement so that our kids get to have the futures that they all deserve. Let me end with a message to iwi. I want Pau Māori to thrive, because when Māori do well, as we all know, New Zealand does well too. And my view is that despite all the words and despite all the rhetoric, outcomes for Māori and indeed all New Zealanders went backwards over the last 6 years. And to face up to those complex economic and social and environmental challenges, to deliver those better outcomes for our people, to start to realise ultimately our 2040 vision, we need to work together, and we need to work together fast with tremendous speed. We, like you, believe in localism and devolution, not centralisation and control. No one understands your iwi like your iwi does. So where iwi and community providers are best at delivering results for your whānau, we saw a good example of it in childhood immunisations, which was a big program we supported and funded late last year. We're going to power them up. We're going to move the money from Wellington out to the front line. And with that comes accountability for spending public money and also delivering great results. So we will keep talking, sometimes boisterously, always sincerely, I hope respectfully, and I believe ultimately productively. And alongside the korero and te reo Māori and or English, we need action, because it's action that will create tangible improvements in our people's daily lives. So this Waitangi Day, I renew this government's commitment to helping all New Zealanders, Māori and non-Māori, to get ahead, and to give all our children and grandchildren hope for a prosperous and secure future here in this great country. That goal, and many, many others, are entirely within our grasp. We can realise them together. And finally, I say to you that this event, on this marae, and our lifestyles would have been unimaginable to the people who were here 184 years ago. But the most fundamental human aspirations are universal. To watch our whānau and families grow in peace and prosperity, to provide for them, to see them flourish and get ahead, to protect and enjoy the environment, to enjoy the freedom of cultural expression, and to know that we have an even better future ahead. There is no better country in the world than this to make this a reality. Nō reira rā, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you.